What's up guys, Cygamer here, and today I've got a 4.2 PTR Firelands first look for you. This is on Shannox. He is a hunter type boss in Firelands. Now, the deal with Shannox is basically he has two ads that you need to deal with to start off with. But before I explain that, I'll explain a few things first. Basically, we didn't kill him because we were a semi-pug and half a guild run. And the pug that I was in were all German. They were looking for a German DPS in trade, and I couldn't find an English group, so I was like, well, I need to get some footage. Sure, I'm German, why not? So I just answered with /nod, and he invited me, which was pro. And then they wanted me on TeamSpeak, so I had to mute my mic and just keep my head down, and they were asking me certain things throughout the raid, and I'd just have to try and interpret what they were asking me to try and work out what I was meant to be doing. And at one point we did switch realms, which she asked me if I had a character on beth'tilac, so I had to try and work that out as well because Rippln kept DCing us and resetting the trash. Now before you can even get to him, you need to clear quite a bit of trash. It's about 10 trash packs before you can get to him. So people who aren't used to trash might QQ about it, who knows, they'll probably reduce the trash. Onto the boss. Now I'll explain what Shannox does first, and then the dogs, and then my idea of ideal tactics. Now we didn't kill it, so I can't give you perfect raid tactics, but I'll do my best and give you an idea of what you should be doing. So first of all, you have Shannox. He does an Emulation Trap, which will go on the ground and cause 52k fire damage immediately, and then 21k fire damage every 3 seconds for 9 seconds, and increases damage taken by 40%. So you don't want to step in these. Now they do go on the ground, and you have 2 seconds to move out of them before they're activated, so you do have quite a bit of time to move out of them. You just have to be awake. The next thing he does is prism traps. If you stand in these, you will be frozen in a ice tomb, similar to a hunter's trap. They have, you see I'm strapped in one now. They have, I think it's 700k HP, so that's 7 million. So your DPS do need to nuke these down as soon as someone gets trapped in one. You shouldn't have anyone trapped, because if a healer gets trapped, it's going to cause problems, and if a DPS gets trapped, it's a big lack of DPS because they've got to focus on this ice tomb. So yeah, you want to avoid people getting trapped in these. Now on the PTR, they'd be invisible, and you'd randomly get trapped, but there'd be no ice trap to DPS down. So that happened to a few people at random points, and I think I get stuck in one in a few seconds after I get freed out of this one. Now they leave me in this for quite a while. I don't think they realise at first, so I am left in for quite a long time, and then it slowly gets nuked down once they realise. The next thing he does is arcing slash. Shannox causes 125% of normal melee damage in a wide arc up to 1 yard in front of him, and inflicts jagged tear on those targets. This is basically a cleave, don't stand in front of the boss, easy done. Jagged tear is something that deals 3k physical damage every 3 seconds for 30 seconds, and it stacks. So I'd imagine you'd have to tank taunt for this. Hurling Spear. Shannox hurls his spear in the direction of his hound Rippln. The spear deals 126 physical damage to anyone who strikes directly, as well as 52k fire damage to all enemies within 50 yards. The spear strike will also trigger a cascade of molten eruptions around the impact point, which deals 52k fire damage to enemies that are caught in them. Rippln will break off from combat, fetch the spear, and return it to Shannox. As you can see there, that's the spear just hit the ground, and that's what happens. Don't stand in the fire, and that's fine, easy avoidable. Now if you kill both of the dogs, he will gain a buff called Frenzy. He'll go into a frenzy, increasing physical damage and attack speed by 30%. Shannox no longer hurls his spear after this point, and instead drives his spear directly into the ground to trigger the same cascade of molten eruptions around the impact point, which deals 52k fire damage to enemies that stand in them. So I'll explain the dogs, and then I'll explain what I'd reckon you do. So the next dog is Rippln. Rippln does something called Limb Rip. Rippln bites, this is a tongue twister this, Rippln bites savagely, dealing 175% of normal melee damage to enemy, and inflicting jagged tear, which is the same jagged tear as what Shannox does. He also goes into a frenzy if he sees Shannox drop below 30%, so he has to be dead before Shannox hits 30%, otherwise Rippln will just rape everyone. Same deal with Ragface, if he sees the boss go to 30% he will go into an enrage. Apart from that, Ragface does something called Face Rage. Rageface leaps at a random target, stunning and knocking them to the ground, and begins to viciously claw at them. This mauling initial damage is 8k, physical damage every 0.5 seconds, but the damage dealt increases over time. While doing this, he is 50% more susceptible to critical strikes. Rageface will continue until his target is dead, or he receives a single attack that deals at least 40k. Now, the way we were doing it is to nuke down Rippln, nuke the second dog, and then nuke the boss. But I'd say nuke Rippln down to 10%, then move on to Rageface, get him down to 10%, and then nuke the boss down to about 40-35%, then finish off the dogs, then finish off the boss, because then you don't have to deal with the enrage for as long. I'd also recommend making use of the ice traps on Rageface. Get a class that can hit pretty hard as a ranged, and get them to stand behind an ice trap, hit Rageface with something hard hitting, and get him frozen, because he does freeze for about, I think, 10 seconds. So yeah, you could make use of the traps to just get him from doing excess damage. And that's pretty much it. I can't really think of any other ways to really do it. It's basically get the dogs out of the way, then get the boss out of the way. There's no way that you're going to be able to do it without killing the dogs, I wouldn't imagine anyway. So I hope this guide, well, this first look at Shannox gives you an idea of what to do if you weren't able to get on the PTR. I will try and get more PTR coverage soon. Please thumbs up and subscribe if you like my videos. And that's pretty much me done. I should have another couple of videos up today, maybe some PvP ones, Dead Space 2 Part 2. So yeah, check them out. See ya.